Well, guys, we have big NFL news today. The Seahawks have no wide receivers left except for Jake Bobo and Jackson Smith and Jigba.
The greatness that is Jake Bobo?
No, Jake Bobo sucks.
Yeah, well,
if I remember right.
I don't know if he sucks. He was that guy coming out of camp that, there's one.
There's
and it's
always that guy.
It's always the white guy.
The great route runner with great hands.
Tough run, smart run.
Gym rat.
Yeah. But no, one of the great Seahawks is no more. No. One of the all-time great Seahawks is
it's
out.
over. And the Seahawks are pissed today because there's two bits of news. Tyler Lockett got cut.
Yeah.
And DK Metcalf requested a trade.
Yeah.
Decaf Metcalf.
Are you on that call?
What? Decaf Metcalf?
That was Joe Tessitore getting it wrong in a big moment. Decaf Metcalf.
Wow. See, even the best get it wrong sometimes, Jace.
Yes.
The Seahawks are mad because they wanted today to be Tyler Lockett Appreciation Day.
Yeah.
But somehow it leaked that DK Metcalf requested a trade.
Well, my guess is that DK Metcalf requested it. Like, he leaked it. DK Metcalf, for all of his talents, DK Metcalf that dude is a pain in the ass, plain and simple.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think listen, DK Metcalf will be traded.
Yes.
The Seahawks are going to shop him around, maybe Green Bay, maybe Vegas, but as good as he is, I don't think that Seahawks fans are upset about that.
I hope not.
Because he's a bonehead.
Yes.
And now Tyler Lockett, give me Tyler Lockett any day of the week.
Yeah.
A player like Tyler Lockett over a player like DK Metcalf.
Yes.
I mean, that right there, just those two guys, as good as Metcalf is and as talent, just as physical specimen as he is, give me Tyler Lockett all day.
Yeah.
That guy was nothing but a pro for 10 years.
No, and he was a better receiver. Look, we fall in love with the freaks, and Metcalf is the definition of that. Big, giant, freaky looking dude. But, outside of the 1 year, I want to pull this up real quick. Blip, blip, blip.
No, sir, don't.
Yeah. So the 2022, so 2 seasons ago, he caught 90 balls.
Wait, who are we talking about here?
DK Metcalf.
Okay.
He caught 90 balls.
That's good.
Yeah, that was very good.
That's good.
And he had, I don't see how many TDs he had. Yeah, 90 balls and 12 touchdowns. That's the, that was a big year for him. But, since then, you look at him, 66 grabs, 66 grabs, 8. He's solid. He's a good receiver, but he's not necessarily a great route runner.
Yeah.
He gets
50-yard worth the headache.
He gets 15-yard penalties all the time, and
especially if you're going to have to pay him a bunch of money.
Yeah, he's expensive, and you're not necessarily in a win now mode. His best years, you didn't make it's not like you're making a big push. And so I think as you're trying to build a culture there,
100%.
I've never been a DK Metcalf guy. I just have always thought that he was a little overrated simply because he's a one-trick pony, but he looks really good, and we fall in love with that.
Well, he makes some amazing plays, too.
Absolutely, and that's why I said we kind of fall in love with we fall in love with the idea of receivers, and I don't know if there's another position we do this about. I think we do with Odell Beckham was another one of these guys that I think had that. You make a couple big moments, you have a big year, and all of a sudden we're like, oh my God. You know who we're doing it right now? Davante Adams. Davante Adams hasn't been Davante Adams in 2 years, but we fall in love with that, although he at one point was the best receiver in football. DK Metcalf has never been that guy. And so yes, when you ask me which one was the better receiver, I'm with you, dude. Give me Tyler Lockett all day long, but he's going to be 33. He had a huge cap hit. I think his cap hit this year, had they kept him, was, what was it you said?
I think this coming year, $17 million.
Oh, at 17, and then it was actually worse because of the bonus. That was if they cut him. It was going to be somewhere, I think, north of the 20s. There was no way going into this year, you knew that this was the last year of Lockett, unless he took a massive restructure. And so here you are, and he's gone. So this was like a very easily predicted thing. And now that Metcalf wants out, we'll see what market is out there for him. I'm guessing Seattle isn't going to try to play hardball with him if Metcalf wants to go and they can get a decent return for him. I don't think Seattle's going to sit there and try to hold him hostage. And by the way, he's got 1 year left, and then after that, he's done. So you're not going to get a huge return for him. But if you can get a fourth, If you can get a 5th for him, something like that, I think that's probably what will end up happening. And then Seattle will wave goodbye, and they're going to move on with Jackson Smith and Jigba, and they'll address receivers in the draft.
DK Metcalf next team odds: Green Bay Packers 3-1, Patriots 5-1, Raiders and Steelers 7-1, Chargers 8-1, Cowboys 10-1.
So, and I would warn anyone, New England Patriots.
Boy, I could see him on the Cowboys.
Yeah,
That's
right?
a cowboy kind of move.
Well, it's a cowboy kind of move, and you put him in an offense that actually could be good. You give him a real quarterback. He's got a real number one on the other side. And again, he's not a full route tree receiver, and you already have CeeDee Lamb, so Metcalf can be that one trick guy, and it could work in Dallas. And that makes sense because Dallas wants to win right now, and they do have the ability to hopefully keep him happy. But if he goes to a place like New England, that isn't going to be very good with a young
Pittsburgh, even like what do they have at quarterback right now that's going to keep him happy?
Well, Drake May.
No, I said or Pittsburgh.
Oh, Pittsburgh.
That was also on that list.
Like I don't want, if I pair him with George Pickens, who's also a whiny little you-know-what. So now I've got 2 temperamental guys that don't play very hard all the time and a quarterback that's going to struggle to get him the ball. I would say the same thing in Vegas. It doesn't make sense. DK to me needs to be a guy like that goes to an organization with some structure and the ability to keep him somewhat happy, and you don't have to rely on him to be the guy. So there's a place for him out there. He's still I think he's 27, 28 years old. So I'm not trying to sit here and say that he's, long in the tooth and I don't want anything to do with him. I just think that we often overvalue guys like DK Metcalf and what they mean, because again, I ask you, as good as he's been in Seattle and he's been solid, what has he meant to the Seahawks? Really nothing. He doesn't move the needle for
I think he's helped them. So it's hard to quantify what he's meant. I mean, look at his numbers. He's good.
Yeah.
Deep threat, good. Stretches the field, that's good.
Yeah.
Opens things up for Smith and Jigba.
Sure.
Lockett. Yes, all of that. How do you quantify that? I don't know. I just feel like he's replaceable.
Yes.
I mean, that's really it.
Yeah.
It's just a number. Look, if DK Metcalf were squeaky clean in terms of just his attitude, this is maybe a different conversation.
Sure.
Right? But he's not.
No.
And they're looking at the price tag and they're looking at the headache and they're going, not really worth it. We can find, we'll find somebody in the draft. There's a free agent. We have Smith and Jigba. We're fine.
And we don't even know, by the way, if Seattle is going to honor this. It's 1 year left of the deal. We would assume that Seattle's going to move on.
Yeah, they'll trade him. No, they don't. So I don't know. I just think Metcalf made this because of the way he is.
Yeah.
I think he made this kind of a whatever.
Yeah.
For both the Seahawks and Seahawk fans.
Sure.
They're just like, fine. Yeah. I mean, he's good.
Sure.
And we shouldn't downplay that, but
No.
he's just easily not easily, but they can replace him.
Yes.
And they should replace him. I don't think they should pay him a bunch of money because he's kind of a headache.
Well,
did you see what Lenore said about him?
No.
Diamador Lenore.
Former Duck great. Yeah, what did he say?
Well, he is, of course, of the Niners now.
Yes.
And we have a Niner fan here on staff.
That's right.
Ryan Buckley loves Diamador Lenore. He said he took to IG Live.
Okay.
Is that
Instagram Live, yeah.
Is that something you guys know? To react to DK Metcalf, and he said, y'all cannot let DK Metcalf leave. How am I going to have fun out there? In Jigba, he be crying all day. That's all he do is cry baby. That's what he said.
Really?
Yeah, so which is funny because
the Niners have baited DK into getting ejected recently, so they like having him around.
To me, I think Lenore is
throwing shade at him.
He's
right?
throwing shade at Metcalf.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
By calling in Jigba a crybaby, I think he's saying, dude, that's all Metcalf did was cry, and it was so much fun.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
I also saw Jigba got on Twitter and said, "Ayo, WTF?"
He's catching strays. Well, clearly, if your in-division rival is saying don't let the guy go, that's shade that he's thrown at him.
Yeah, they knew they could get under his skin.
Yes.
They loved it.
Yeah.
Can you imagine being a DB, how fun it would be to get under DK Metcalf's skin?
100%.
And how easy it would be?
Yeah. And he just, he just is kind of one of those like unhinged players, but he's
Meanwhile,
good.
Try rattling Tyler Lockett.
No, that guy's a pro's pro, and it bothers me, and we're falling victim to it. But it does suck that on a day where hopefully this should have been a Lockett appreciation, and this is why it bothers me. And this is again the DK Metcalf thing. I don't believe that it was an accident, that it leaked. the day that Lockett is getting released.
What?
Guys like that just always wanted about themselves. And look, there's no position quite like wide receiver in the NFL, and I know they're important and we love them, but boy, I feel like receiver to me is starting to become a little bit like the running back a number of years ago.
I agree.
There's plenty of them to be found. You don't have to pay. Like if you're a true number one guy, Chase and Jefferson, I get it. And by the way, those guys don't get moved very often. They don't hit free agency. You just don't see those guys because teams hold on to them.
But it's like dudes 10 through 35 are all the same.
Exactly. And you can find them.
Get them cheap.
Yes, you can find them lots of places.
Couldn't agree more.
So